Welcome to the Mystic Access Podcast, where the magic is in learning. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Mystic Access Podcast, the last one of 2025 for December 23rd, 2025. And guess who's here?
I'm here.
You're here. Hi.
Hello. My name's Chris.
My name's Kim.
It is.
If you're brand new here, we co-host this thing together. We had initially decided to talk about two different topics today, but we got so into our first topic that we're going to save the other one for the new year. And it'll be an exciting one, so definitely stay tuned for that. We'll start with Chris because I know you guys kind of want to know a little bit about what's going on. And Chris isn't going to share tons, but he wants to share something specifically about his stay in the hospital. He was in for 10 days, we'll tell you that much, and it was long. But it didn't feel long to you, did it?
No, it really didn't. There were some times when, it felt kind of strange. Like, here's the one time I was cleared to get up and move at night. So I got up and moved at night, and the alarm went off.
Those bed alarms, if you've never heard them, are loud. And when the nurse comes in to clear the alarm, they say, "Got it!"
Yeah.
So Chris was tempted to say...
I was not tempted to. I thought about it for 2.5 seconds, and I thought, I like hospital care. I don't want to be thrown out on the sidewalk. But anyway, so the night nurse, because you had like different night nurses and different aides and stuff. Well, the aide thought I was bedbound. And the night nurse goes, "He's not bedbound. He can get up," because I had to go to the bathroom every 20, 30 minutes, a couple hours or so, because they had me on a diuretic. And I couldn't be, fastened down into my bed. But, it was really kind of interesting because we went there, we took an Uber there.
On a Wednesday.
And we got to the ER.
We were the only ones there. There was somebody watching over us, I believe, because we got there and immediately we were able to say, this is what's going on.
Yep. And it was interesting because of that. I mean, I was basically high blood pressure and super high blood pressure to the
Scary
point
high blood
where
pressure.
I was kind of a legend at the hospital. And they got me in. Nobody was in front of us.
No.
Nobody was in the ER, and of course, with high blood pressure, they took me immediately. All I had to say was high blood pressure, and the first thing they did is put me in a wheelchair.
He was in a wheelchair and then in a bed in like 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And then they were able to fix me up, and 10 days later, I was able to walk in on my own 2 feet. Don't know how. And I was able to walk out on my own 2 feet. Although, when the aide said, "Do you want to walk out or do you want the wheelchair?" I said, "I'll take the full experience. Give me the wheelchair," which I could have walked out at the time. I just wanted to be pampered, I guess.
So we learned a few things about hospital care, at least in our local hospital, which is astoundingly awesome. We had such great care while we were in there. From the moment the triage nurses, really from the check-in experience, the triage nurses, they were so sweet to him. They were so sweet to me. I was a wreck because it was very scary. I won't lie about that. But, getting in there and having something so serious going down, it's frightening. And everyone was so sweet. And we learned a lot of things while we were there. We'll just share a few of them with you, and hopefully they can be of some help to you. For one thing, make sure when you go, you have a few things that your person might need. So, in our case, I'm trying to remember what all I grabbed, and just literally threw in a shopping bag, a plastic bag, no less. Not even a good shopping bag, and schlepped it over to the hospital. And one of the things I had was a power bank, because you can now use your phones and other devices in a hospital setting, no problem, not a big deal, even in the ICU, and no one's going to say anything to you. So
yeah, that was kind of wild, actually. I'm texting my friend from the ICU, and he's like, "Since when can you use your phone?" I says, "I'm doing it right in front of the person." They don't care. It's not a thing anymore where you have to have your cell phones off. I would still check the hospital just in case.
Yeah, especially in a situation like an ICU.
Right.
So take your phone. When you take your phone, you're going to want something to charge it with, like a power bank. And we have an awesome power bank. These are still sold by AT guys. We have a couple of them. We each have one. I knew where mine was. I went, grabbed it, and grabbed the charging cord. However, what I did not do was grab a
C cable.
C cable, so a USB A to C. Fortunately, when his mother got there, she came and sat with us and was essentially here with us for 2 weeks, which was something else. And, we're really grateful for all the support she was able to give, especially so I didn't have to Uber my way back and forth to the hospital every day, which I would have done, but it would have been a pain. And getting there from the parking lot would have been interesting. Could have been dumb. I could have found my way up. The only thing I was real concerned about in terms of going up there independently, and somebody would have helped me, by the time you walk, well, I'll tell you that in a minute. When you walk in, you have, at least at our local hospital, we have cops who check and ID us and then let us in and find out who we're here to see. By the time we were there, day 4-ish, 5, they weren't IDing us. By the time we were there 6, 7 days, they weren't even asking us anything. They were just letting us go. So,
they got to know you.
They got to know us. They got to know people. So we had the same cop every weekday, and then we had the one weekend we were there, we had the weekend cop. And he was real interesting. He was a lot of fun.
Did he
but
say,
he
I'm
did
going to
ID
be
us.
the bad cop?
Yeah, he said, I'm going to be a bad cop. I want ID. So he did ID us both days, Saturday and Sunday. Then we got our week cop back, and he's like, hey, bye. We had to have passes. You have to have a visitor pass to go up. So it's just a little sticky note that you stick on your clothes, and then you're good to go, and you can go up. One time I was so tired that I literally left my sticky note on my hoodie from the day before, because, I would try and wear things a couple days and then wear something new because you've got your temperatures and you kind of know what they're like, and then you're going to go out in the snow, and it was like 12 degrees some days and 9 degrees some days. So it was cold, but I didn't want to wear lots of clothing that I was going to have to worry about dealing with in a hospital setting because you don't have a lot of space and you don't have real places to put things. So I would just wear hoodies. And so, my clothes would get a couple days of use and then I'd wash them and then I'd wear new ones.
What hoodie did you wear?
One of the hoodies I wore was yours, and it was your Greatest American Hero hoodie. So you started laughing at me about it, and I said, well, I guess I'm the Greatest American Heroine.
Right.
So,
which didn't last long. That was one episode.
That was kind of funny. So I would wear your hoodie. But the thing I was going to say was, if you were trying to get up there from the hospital entrance to, especially the ICU, but even to the second floor, which is the main floor, what they call the medical floor, that would be hard. That would be tricky. You could certainly get to the floor. That wouldn't be the issue. But the problem is there are gurneys, there are carts, there are people running by you at all times. And that may have been a little tricky. You would have had to have been careful. You probably could have done it, but it would have been a little bit of a nerve-wracking experience. So I was grateful his mom was here for that alone in terms of chauffeuring us both back and forth. And the hospital's less than 3 miles away. So we're very fortunate in that we have great medical care up here. And so that was helpful and great. But going up there with just a cane and trying to figure out where you were going would be a little tricky, I think.
A wing and a prayer, like the Greatest American Hero theme song says.
So, power bank, very important. We're fortunate because, as I mentioned, the ones that we have that we got from JJ are vibration-based. So, you can mash the button on it and it'll either beep or vibrate. We have it set to vibrate or both. And depending on how often it beeps or vibrates is showing you how charged it is. So, they last forever. Chris had his phone. Oh, that's what I was saying. His mom, excuse me for the scatteredness, his mom actually had a cable, a C cable, so you could charge your phone.
Right.
So her C cable stayed with you and the power bank. So we obviously brought your phone because we needed that for insurance and ID and all the things. So, because he has a phone wallet with, actual physical cards in there and then all the insurance stuff and everything's on the phone. And,
beautiful.
all these things. It's great. So, when you go to an emergency room situation, you want to make sure you, number one, have your ID. Do not leave home without your ID. They will not let you in. And they may have let him in. but they wouldn't have let me in.
Right.
And make sure you have some form of payment in case you need it immediately. And also make sure you have your insurance information if that's applicable to you.
Yes.
So sometimes they can find that. In our case, things were a little askew, so they found what they needed. We got real lucky. I mean, even the lady in admissions was just amazing. She was so sweet. So she had to call me one morning and we had a conversation, but it was fine. But make sure you bring all that with you. I know it's a scary situation when you're going, especially if it's something life-threatening like it was for us. But make sure you have that. Keep your head together enough to make sure you get that information. Take your phone. Try to charge your phone for 20 minutes if you can before you go.
I think we both did that.
We did. And we were in a bad situation, but we still took the time to do it because we knew if we were left phoneless, we could be in a bad situation. Because at the time, we didn't know. I thought I might have to Uber home. I didn't know. Didn't know what was going on.
Right.
Accept the help that these professionals are trying to give you. I know not all hospitals are anywhere near as stellar as the one that we got to go to. I know that because I used to live in a small town with very not stellar hospitals, okay? So I get it. But remember, you're going in there, and if you're not a medical professional yourself, you really may not know what's going on. We thought we had some idea what was happening with Chris.
We didn't.
We didn't. And we were wrong about many things that we thought. Some of the things we were right about, but some things we were wrong about. And it was a real interesting learning experience, even in a crisis situation, to find out some of these things. But listen to your medical people in there and let them do what they do. Don't try to micromanage the situation. I know it's important to ask questions, and you should ask questions, but don't step in too much. And I hope I'm coming across with what I'm trying to say here. What I really want to say is don't tell them how to do their jobs, essentially, because, sometimes we just have to sit back and hope that the hands that we're in are capable ones. And we never worried about that, fortunately for us, an instant.
I told them, do what you got to do.
Do what you got to do. I mean, they came in, they wanted medical directives, they wanted all the things. They would have gotten that no matter whether we were in crisis or not. In our situation, it was important. But in any situation, it's important. You don't know what's going to go down. You don't know what's going to happen. The emergency room doctor was fantastic. He came in and talked to us at least twice that I remember. Try to be confident when you're going in there, particularly if you are the patient or you are the family member of the patient. You're the one who's trying to remember everything. I did not feel patronized once. And we probably met 50 people in there between emergency room, ICU, and the end, the final days. Yeah. I would not be surprised if we met like 50 people. Not one of them was patronizing. I don't feel towards either of us.
No.
They did put a thing on your door that said legally blind.
But that's so door. Everybody
That's knew. Exactly right. But never did I feel like anybody was like, oh, therefore I'm going to scream at you and, do some of the stereotypical things you might expect.
No, they knew how to handle me.
They would tell him where his call button was. They would tell him where, what else? Food, if they were putting food down, they would make sure he knew it was in front of him. What else? There was something else. Oh, there were other things that he would be using during the course of his stay, and they would tell him where those were.
It makes me upset because now I want a sleep number bed.
You'd never get out of it.
Probably not.
Stay in it all day. Because, of course, the bed moves. And once he figured out how the bed operated, this is after we got him out of ICU and into a private room, he would get it to a perfect position and was able to sleep a little better. We'll tell you one interesting experience that happened to us, and it's just cute. I won't name her name, but we had a specific day nurse over the weekend. The only weekend we were there because we left on a Friday. So this was our weekend nurse. We won't give her name, but she was kind of interested in how we ended up together. And Chris had mentioned that we met online. You can tell this story because it's funny.
You mean you've never seen each other before?
Like physically seen each other? We're like, no.
But what was really kind of funny about the nurses too is that, they've got all this equipment that can save your life, right?
Oh, I know where he's going.
And they're more interested in how my stupid cane worked.
Now, here's the funny story about the cane. When we got in there and we had, a bag of stuff and we ended up, he took off his clothes and ended up in a gown almost immediately when we got him into a bed in the ER. And at the end of the day, or was it the next day? I can't remember, but you needed a cane. It was the next morning.
It was the next morning.
You were still in ICU.
No, I needed PT.
I know.
Once I moved to the room, I needed PT.
Yes. Later that day.
Yes.
But I think in ICU they wanted to get you up and walk you.
No, they didn't.
They did it in ICU?
No.
Oh, I thought it was ICU they did that.
No, it was in the room.
So he needed a cane. Well, his was in the car, buried under a bunch of stuff by that point of the day. And because this was at least the next day. This was like the Thursday. So I had my cane. So he ended up adopting my pink cane for the week. So it was kind of hilarious. He would be going, this is my wife's, and people were fascinated by the fact that cane just, it's a sectional cane. So it just opens up. Fling. People were like, well,
I was amused.
One person's like, I always wondered where they went. Nobody called it a walking stick. I mean, overall, I was really impressed with a lot of these medical professionals.
There's also technology that they have out now that can monitor your vitals, if you will, your heart, how it beats, blah, blah, blah. And it basically, you wear it. It's a vest. And what it does, which is kind of cool, is that when you charge the battery at night, so you take the battery out, you get two batteries, you swap them. You got to run this thing 24/7, except in the shower. And it will send your statistics from the previous day when you charge that battery in the morning to the doctor. That's
Wild.
very cool.
It's very cool. He was on monitoring every 10 minutes. And at one point, he had a blood pressure cuff on that would monitor him every 10 minutes without anybody even having to come in and look at it. It would just go every 10 minutes. It was wild.
When I had one of the tests, they had it set to every minute.
Oh my gosh.
If you've got white coat syndrome, you don't want to be in that test. But even in the tests and stuff, they told me exactly what they were going to do, how they were going to do it, why they were going to do it. And it was funny because one of the tests, they're like, we got to go get Kim. I said, what do you care about her for?
He had a nurse named Kim. That was really funny.
She had to monitor one of the parts of the test.
You're like, oh, that's my wife's name.
Oh. You're not my wife. Go away.
If you are the next of kin, they are going to defer to you. Or at least they should defer to you about certain things. So his main doctor, when he was in there, she was awesome. And this was after he was admitted. So we got to see her every day for like 9 days or something. And, she would always ask me, how you doing? Do you have any questions? All the things. And his mom would be sitting there, but she would defer to me first. Because I was the wife, as she should. But what I was most impressed by with everybody is they deferred to you first and foremost as the patient.
Right.
And that is exactly how it should be.
Right.
You were competent. You could carry on a conversation. You were conscious, obviously. And they could talk to you, and they did.
Sometimes they ask you where you are to make sure that you are confident still. And I was so tempted.
This guy's a prankster. You guys should know that by now.
I was going to say, I'm from the future. I came here in a time machine that you invented. Now I need to get back to the year 1985. They probably wouldn't have liked that.
I'm glad you didn't do that. I would have come in the next day and you would have said, honey, I'm in the psych ward.
Obviously, that was a quote from Back to the Future.
Mm-hmm. So, be careful what you say and what you do.
Sometimes you can get away with that. Like I told them where we were. I said, and then I said, would you like the latitude and longitude position too? They're like, no.
No, not.
Although I couldn't have given to them anyway, but still.
But they want to know where you are. They want to know the date, your name, obviously, that kind of information. Many times they come in and ask his name, so he would give that information. The nurses were cute because a lot of times they want to know, who's with you. And you got to get to know the nurses, but the nurses are cute because they're like, oh, we never assume, who's who.
Yeah.
The
first thing they said to me is, who is she to you?
Yep. First thing. If I had been your sister or your cousin or your best friend or something, I probably would have been out.
Yes.
But because I was your wife, I got some extra perks. Mm-hmm. So they let me stay in there.
But we're on the mend, so...
We are. It's going to be a long road. We're going to be real about that. So... just hang out with us and be willing to go with the flow with us a few months because, we don't know how things are going to go here, but we're going to do our best. And there's definitely adjustments personally that we're going through as a result of this, but we're hanging in there. And Chris is strong and he's tough and he's in great spirits and, he has a great sense of humor and not concerned. So just know that when you go through something like this, don't be afraid to accept the help.
You have to accept the help.
I know in our situation specifically, just speaking for him and myself, I won't even speak for all of you because, who am I to do that? But we both kind of suck at it. And to be able to kind of surrender and let someone else take over is sometimes the best thing you can do. I mean, all I could really do for at least the first 4 or 5 days was just go home, sleep, shower, come back, do it all over again, 12 hours a day. And you're trying to remember things and talk to people and find out what's happening and all the things. And we were fortunate. He didn't have any time when he was unconscious. He could always communicate with them. He was lucid. There were no issues there. And so he could get to know his nursing staff and have conversations. But you really need to keep yourself well and keep your mind clear. Because you're the one if you're not the patient and you're the close family member, you're the one who has to remember all this stuff.
The insurance called was the hospital and wanted to know medicines. I said, I don't know. Here's my wife. And they were cool with that. Yeah,
they were totally cool with it. They were very sweet to me. So these are things you need to be aware of. You've got to keep yourself well. My mother was on the phone with me going, you need to eat. My mom's been through this. My dad's been very unwell for several years. And so as a result, they're going back and forth to doctors all the time now. And so she's really been through it. My dad went through a very critical period last year. Was it last year?
I don't remember now.
Gosh, I know, it's crazy to even think about. But it was last year, early last year.
2024?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, early last year, April. So, she kind of knows a little bit about what I was experiencing, and it was just encouraging me to take care of myself. So that's important.
Speaking of taking care of yourself, one of the things she was referring to when you said take the help is that I couldn't take my own shower. So I needed help taking my own shower. It wasn't really because I couldn't. It was the fact that the IV was on my right hand. And if you start putting your hands places that are dirty and disgusting, you could destroy that IV. One of the nurses said to me, she goes, I'll do anything for you to save that IV. Because they don't want. And I'm trying to not be graphic, but I think you kind of get the idea of putting your hands places that aren't the cleanliness that could destroy an IV.
Yeah.
They don't want to take
and
that
they
chance.
actually had his IV come in from cardio, from the telemetry floor to do his IV. So they were more advanced nurses than even the nurses on the medical floor.
Right.
So one of them came in and was doing his IV, and she was hilarious. She was a really funny person and, kind of made me laugh. So she did that, and then they had that IV in for a couple days before they took that IV out.
Easily. That was the last thing to leave.
That was the last IV, yeah, and the last one to be taken off before you left.
When I got discharged, I says, can we take this out? Yeah, let's get rid of it.
We had a great nurse. She had been his nurse 2 days, and she was his nurse the day of the discharge. So, she gave us a lot of great information. Here's the other thing about being in a hospital these days. If you are lucky enough and fortunate enough, as we were, to get an accessible option for reading your tests and finding out your appointments and all the things, learn to use it. So we have MyChart.
Which is awesome.
It's amazing. Amazing. He's getting his test results. He can read his test results. I mean, they're still results, so they're still like, what the heck does this mean? But you can read them and go in and find everything. He could change his pharmacy, which we had to do. That's another fun story we won't go into. But we ended up changing pharmacies. Twice. It's important to know. Well, once we changed the location and once we actually changed the Honest Pharmacy. Mm-hmm. So it's really important to, if you can, be familiar with or familiarize yourself during the process with what is out there and what you might need. So because of the medications we came home with, there are several of them. And, these are really kind of high-powered medications. And so we want to be able to get them on a system where we can just use an app and know which medication is which. It's a little easier than scanning with a camera or using all of your IRA time, which is what we're doing currently, to make sure, doubly, triply sure, which box is which. Because as I'm putting together his weekly meds, it's important, obviously, vital to be able to get your medications where they need to be when you need to take them. So that piece is important. So we're going to switch personally to CVS because they have something called Spoken
RX.
Spoken RX, and that will do exactly what we want. It's essentially an RFID sticker or something that goes on the pill bottle.
Yep.
And so they can just refill those for us. They also can deliver, so we don't have to worry about it. Once we get it set up, we don't have to worry about it again.
Right.
So we haven't done that yet, but that will be something that is done fairly soon. Early in January. Get that done.
We went to a specific pharmacy, which we will not
won't name because one branch was awesome and one branch sucked, frankly.
So we go into the branch that's closer to our house.
Which sucked.
And she goes, we've only got X out of Y of your medicine. And I had literally discharged.
He still had his hospital bracelet on.
Right.
We came from the hospital to the pharmacy. We hadn't even been home yet.
And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Oh, you can come back Monday. Seriously? I can't come back Monday. I need the medicine. So somebody at the store had the bright idea and saying, go to the other branch. We went to the other branch, and sure enough, they were able to help. But they didn't have the Spoken RX that we wanted. Theirs was a pill top that you record, and I want to be able to spell things and stuff if I need to. So to make a long, drawn-out story short, that's why we switched.
But you could go into MyChart and switch yourself.
I can and did. Yes.
Which was incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of thing is really cool. We have an appointment with the GP coming up on the day of this podcast release. And we won't even have to check in. The app does it for us.
Phone location. Big Brother's looking at you.
It's insane. So if you can use the technology, if it's accessible enough to learn to use the technology. When you are in a hospital, use a VPN. Talk a second about that.
We had excellent Wi-Fi service. It was Verizon Fios at the hospital. But you've got so many people connecting to that hospital. If you can use a VPN, that's fine. If not, don't do anything you wouldn't want your uncle, cousin, and former roommate to know that you're doing.
And former ex.
Right. That too.
No banking, nothing like that. Nothing where you're having to share sensitive information anywhere. Just don't do it.
Right. If it's SSL secured, then you're okay. That's my understanding. What the VPN does is it prevents people from being in the middle and being able to, see what you're doing. And I connected to the VPN and stayed on it until I left.
I wouldn't bank without a VPN.
I don't think I would either, but I guess it's okay.
I had to do some banking, and because our closest country from where we were sitting was Canada, I had to say, hey, honey, how do I change this VPN over to a U.S. location?
Yeah. I set mine to our home location.
Yeah.
But it worked out good.
Yeah.
So,
That's the kind of thing you got to get fixed.
Even if you have unlimited data on your cell plan, if you can use Wi-Fi, like a hospital Wi-Fi or something, I suggest you use it because it would take less of your battery.
And that's absolutely true. I would still come home from a 12-hour day with like 30% battery. Mm-hmm. Make sure before you leave your house that you know how to use your alarm system and your locks, if you have such things. This is one of the things that I have played with intensely for 10 days.
It was fun, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, great fun. Usually in many cases, I kind of let this be Chris's thing, and now it's my thing too, because I was forced in that situation to learn how those locks work, which ones to unlock when, more about how the security system works, all the things. I mean, I knew the main arming modes and all that stuff, but you've got to make sure you do things in a certain order or the cops are going to show up at your house, which you don't want. So that was something to pay attention to.
I could see you and my mom getting arrested. It would be kind of funny.
That would not be funny. That would be bad. So that's an important piece of it too. Try to remember, even though you go into a hospital situation and it's kind of time out of time, that you have things that are due. You don't want to miss too many bills if you can help it while you're in the hospital. So I would come back and I would literally ask assistants, what's the date? Oh crap, I have something due today. Or we have something due today that's on his phone that I can't do here. So I would say to him, and we always talked in the mornings before I would come. So I could say, hey, we have this due, or don't forget about this. And between us, we managed to keep the household afloat while he was in the hospital. And I was fortunate in that, he was conscious and able to work with me to make some of that happen. There wasn't tons we had to do, but there were things we had to do and talk about because we were in a very unexpected situation. And, it was very important that we get things done. If you need to take notes, obviously you could do so on your phone. I had my Hable, and I actually took his Hable too. So that we both had things to write with, because there are situations where it's easier and more private to write versus to talk. I also, when we got home, his mom read me like 2 pages of the discharge instructions, so I knew everything there was to know about the medications. So I have all that written down in a file on my Brilliant, so that is available to me. Now, if you didn't have her, you could always use an assistant. You could use something like Ira. I don't know if I'd use Be My Eyes for something like that, because some of the stuff on this discharge stuff is, your own private medical information. I don't know. I suppose that would be up to you as to what you chose to do in a situation like that. But I would definitely write down the important things. We got him a pillbox, which is a 7-day pillbox. And we'll try to link to this actually in the show notes, because it was one of those, it claimed to have Braille on it. It does not have Braille.
It has tactile markings.
It has tactile markings that are actually probably better than Braille, because if you can't read Braille, you can still tell the difference. These have very differentiated markings on them.
Basically, what you have is a box, and within the box, you've got a day. And in that day, you've got morning, afternoon, evening, and night. So if you have medicine in the afternoon, you put it in the afternoon slot. Medicine in the morning, you put it in the morning slot. So that's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. So you want to be very conscious and cautious about that piece of it as well. Make sure you have something to go home with. In our situation, they were making sure, they would have given us one, obviously billed it to our insurance or something, a blood pressure monitor.
Yes, they were.
To take home with us.
Yes.
We have one.
We have one.
We are very fortunate that we have one, and it works.
We weren't using it.
We weren't using it, clearly enough. So we have one, and it works with the app, and he can take that to his GP about the time you're listening to this, and share that information with the GP.
Yeah. I'm even putting notes in.
Yes.
Like before breakfast, before medicine, before, after, blah, blah, blah. I've got all these cute little notes in there so that they can see the blood pressure results, and they're much better than they were.
Much better than they were. Much better. So those are the things that I would think of. I'm sure there's stuff I'm missing, but to know as you're going in, and if you are faced with a situation like this, also accept the support. Tell your closest friends what's really going on, because they've been supportive. And even all of you, I mean, we consider many of you our friends, and then some of you are, our IRL friends, because you're the people we've broken bread with, or, met at conventions, or what have you, that make you even closer. But I'll tell you what, I sent that news page out and shared on the podcast last time, and so many of you have sent such sweet, precious notes.
Much appreciated.
To us, and those have lifted us up. You don't know.
It's just a one line that says, we hope you're okay.
We hope you're okay. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you. We appreciate that so much. It has meant so much to us to get those notes. Thank you guys. I know that I have not responded to any of those, and I know you've only responded to a couple of those, but it's just because of kind of where we are right now in life. He did get out on Friday. What was that, the 12th?
The 10th, yes.
Whew. It's really hard to keep up. So we've been home a little over a week, and it's a road, guys. I'm going to tell you the truth. It's really a road, but we're hanging in there. We're doing okay. He's home, and that's great. You really get perspective in situations like this. You learn a lot about yourself and how you respond to a crisis.
You learn about your mother-in-law, too.
Learn about your mother-in-law, you do, or I do. You learn when to call your own mom and just have heart-to-hearts because she's very far away. It's been something, and, I'm just grateful that we're here and we can share this stuff with you guys, and even more importantly, that we can share this journey with each other as we're experiencing this.
If this helps one person, we've done our job.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So please, if you feel like something's not right, please just go take care of it. Don't let your pride or your stubbornness get in the way.
Stupidness.
And stupidness get in the way. If you think something's off, try to see about it quickly. It's really, really important that you can do that, whether that means calling a friend or calling an Uber or getting public transit, whatever that is, go get it seen about. And have those people in your corner who can support you and at least say, hey, I've got you. I may not be able to come there or whatever, but I've got you. And you can talk to me about stuff. Mm-hmm. That really has meant so much to us in this time where there are people that we could just talk to and say, hey, this is what's up. This is what's happening. Again, we're not really going to speak about what's going on with Chris medically. That's something that we're going to keep really on the down low, really private. But, it is a journey, and there's some things we're going to have to do. And, we don't know what the future holds about many things right now. But what we do know is we're here, and we're grateful, and all we want for Christmas is just to be together and hang out.
My two front teeth.
Yeah, that too. And just have a nice, quiet, grateful holiday, because we had some very scary days.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you want to say to close us off?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate, if your body is telling you something, it's telling you something for a reason. Yeah. We don't, especially if you haven't been to the doctors in a number of years. Like, I'll admit I have not. But, you just got to be careful with your body. It's a wonderful thing when it tells you there's something wrong. I had pneumonia, which is the weirdest thing.
We knew you were sick. We thought you had bronchitis. We didn't know it had tipped over into pneumonia, but it had.
Yes, and I didn't know that until the docs told me there's some pneumonia in your lung, which is gone. So that's why I was coughing. Well, one of the reasons I was coughing. There's other reasons, but, we won't really get into those. But really, just take care of yourselves. That's all I can say.
And let people take care of you. When you get into a situation where you can't do it yourself anymore, let the professionals do it for you. Let them handle it for you. Again, don't be afraid to ask questions. If they don't tell you, ask if you want to know what is going on. But definitely don't be afraid to let other people take over when you feel safe and secure in that situation in doing so. I was very fortunate in that when I left him, even that first night when I was still scared out of my mind, I knew that he was in capable hands. I thought, whatever happens here, he's in the most capable hands, in the best place he could possibly be right now. And I had to just go with that. And that's really hard for me as a spouse. But, sometimes you just have to say, okay, I can't do anything anymore except be the supportive spouse.
Yep.
So on that note, Merry Christmas, happy, merry everything, and we will talk to you guys in the new year, and we're very grateful to have that opportunity to do that. So please take care of yourselves and hug the people you love and hold them close and have a safe, healthy, happy holiday.
Bye.
The preceding podcast is a presentation of Mystic Access, where the magic is in learning. If you are blind or visually impaired and wish to experience less stress and more fun on your unique assistive technology journey, our comprehensive audio documentation and additional offerings are here to support you. We welcome your visit at mysticaccess.com. That's mysticaccess.com. Have a question or wish to place an order via phone? Call us at 716-543-3323. If you have comments to share about this episode, follow our phone menu prompts to reach our Mystic Access podcast comment line. Email us at info@mysticaccess.com and connect with us on social media, Mastodon, mysticaccess.online, and facebook.com/mysticaccessempower. Would you like to spread the word about our podcasts? Anyone may explore our extensive archives and subscribe to receive our bi-weekly episodes at mysticaccesspodcast.com. If you enjoy our content, please consider rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform. Thanks for spreading the word and for being a listener. We hope you enjoyed this episode.